let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in my race, and then I'll be glad to answer any questions that you've got as to kind of what's going on. Right now, the big thing that's going on in Arkansas is that we've got a huge football game against Alabama. So, we're all kind of in a break right now. It's good that I'm in Washington. It makes no difference. The whole state is focused on that. I had the opportunity to play football in Arkansas, and I had two claims to fame in that regard. Joe Gibbs was the offensive line coach when I was there the last 2 years. And because of myself and 2 or 3 others, we frustrated him so much, we were so uncoachable, that he decided to leave college football and went to the Bronx. The other thing was the quarterback there when I was there was a guy named Joe Ferguson. Joe went on to play for Buffalo for, I guess, 17, 18 years. Was one of the longest serving quarterbacks in professional football. But I was the last season that he was there, last half of the year, I was the left tackle, the offensive line left tackle. And I was just like the guy on the blind side, only I never got any better. Literally just run me over. And then I taught Joe how to scramble. The sad thing is when I'm with those guys and I tell those stories, they're just sitting there nodding their heads and things. I talk about, I had an interesting experience. I had the opportunity to go to Arkansas, and I decided, because we worked so hard at the high school that I was at, it was a very good program in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I decided that I would, instead of finishing out the school year and going at the normal time, I would leave and go in January, because I thought it would be easier at Arkansas than going through my off-season program. Well, as soon as I got there, I knew that I'd made a tremendous mistake. And on a very, very hot day, much like the days we've had recently, really all throughout the summer, we were in spring football, and I was playing linebacker, I tackled the starting fullback for the Razorbacks, and as he went down, he kicked me in the mouth and broke out one of my teeth. And so I'm standing there, pretty addled, and yet in my mind, I'm thinking, well, at least I'm going to get to go in early. And so I'm sitting there looking at my tooth. The offensive coordinator said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I've broken out one of my teeth." And he looked at me and said, "That's okay, we'll deal with that later. Line up over there." I didn't miss a play. So I realized then that I wasn't in high school anymore. I was in the big leagues, and I had to suck it up. And I really think that this election is a lot like that. Every year we hear this is the biggest election, this is the big one, and we've got to get on the stick. But I really do believe, and I think the people of Arkansas believe, I think the people of America, and those of you that haven't been back to your homes and things don't understand this if you haven't been back lately. But the fear out there is tremendous. And I really believe that right now we're trying to decide which way are we going to go. Are we going to go the tax, the spend, the borrow mentality that's coming out of this administration like never before? Or are we going to get back to our free market principles and get back on the stick? And, with the principles we've always had, the answer to our problems, and though they're very significant, the answer to the problems is truly the American people and allowing small business in general, to get rid of some of this regulation and things and allow them to go forward so that they can solve their problems. So I think that's really what this election is all about. In Arkansas, the issues are 2 or 3 things: jobs, jobs, jobs. Arkansas is actually about 2 percentage points lower than the national average. And so, in one respect, we're in pretty good shape, and yet we aren't at all. The economy is much weaker than the numbers. The average Arkansan is very concerned about having a job 3 or 4 months from now. It doesn't matter. I've got Walmart in my district. I've got Tyson's. I've got JB Hunt. I've got some of the major players in the country. But it doesn't matter if you're a senior level Walmart guy or if you're a blue collar guy. There's lots of concern about the future. So jobs, jobs, jobs. And again, real job creation, not the stimulus job creation. We read over the weekend about Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Times coming out saying that they got $111 million in Los Angeles and created 50 jobs. $2 million a pop, that's not a very good ratio. And the American public are looking at this stuff and just kind of throwing up their hands. The other thing that's huge on the minds of the average Arkansan is the deficit. And this is something that they truly are worried about. Seniors, the Democrats have lost in droves. President Obama has lost in droves, and since they figured out if the president bankrupts the country, there is no money for Social Security, there is no money for Medicare. Now, we say that now, but if you said that 2 years ago, everybody just laughed. But that truly is on the minds of seniors. They resent it. They feel like they've paid their dues, they've worked hard, paid their taxes, built the country, and now much of this is being bounced on their backs in the sense of issues like that, and then they really resent the health care bill because of the cut in Medicare. So, along with that is the health care bill. I can't tell you how unpopular that is in Arkansas. And Senator Lincoln was in a very tough primary, and as a result, had to swing way to the left and survive. Ran an ad and said, I'm Senator Lincoln, I was the deciding vote on health care, and I'm very proud of it, and then had it kind of tattooed on my chest during the commercial. Immediately, though, like the Wednesday after the primary, they asked me, they said, John, what are you going to run a positive campaign and things? Because this thing had been so negative, the Halter Lincoln campaign. And I said, yeah, we're going to talk about the issues. We're going to talk about health care. I'm very much opposed to it. She was the deciding vote, and then blah, blah, blah. Well, they went and asked her, and she immediately denied being the deciding vote. And I said, well, what about your commercial? What about, So that's been kind of a big deal in Arkansas. Missouri, 71% of the voters basically said they were against the law. So I can't underestimate how much the public dislikes this law. And the more we find out about it, the more they do dislike it. And it truly is a huge deal. I was with one of our manufacturers in Fort Smith. Fort Smith is our manufacturing town. And this guy has a company. He and I actually happened to go to high school together. He's the CEO. Very successful company. They make specialty motors. He said the health care bill would cost them $2 million. And he said in this economy that they just can't do that. So he said that they will lay off 50 people and mechanize, to make up for their cost. Another employer the other day, a restaurant chain, have about 900 employees throughout the surrounding states in Arkansas. They're struggling right now. He said that in 2014, even if they just pay the mandate, that it will cost them over $1 million, and he didn't think the company could survive. So, you multiply that one manufacturer in Fort Smith throughout that city, throughout the state, throughout the country, it's a huge deal. The other thing with health care is the mandate to the states, and the increase in their Medicaid. In Arkansas, that will cost us at least $200 million. That's what the governor's telling us. But probably it's going to be much more than that, closer to $400 million. Arkansas has a balanced budget amendment, and so they don't have $200 million. That's a huge amount of money for our state. And so the question is, where's that going to come from? Will it come from education? It will come from roads and things like that. And then again, it will come from providers, ultimately, so decreased quality of care. So there's lots of issues, but those are really the main things that are being thought in Arkansas. For those of you that haven't spent a lot of time in your homes lately, I can't tell you the amount of angst, the true fear that the public has. My generation, I grew up during the Vietnam generation, when that was raging when I was in high school and college. You had the assassination of the Kennedys, you had the assassination of Martin Luther King. Many of our major cities were on fire because of the racial things that were going on during that time. But that is nothing compared to what's going on now. And the reason is that despite all that, people had confidence in their government. Right now, there is no confidence in this institution. competition on, absolutely not. And so it's a very difficult time. And until we restore some confidence, and that's why this election is so very, very important, until we restore some confidence. The last thing in the world anybody's going to do is hire new people. Right now, the average businessman, the only thing they know is that their taxes are going up next year. They don't know what their energy costs are going to be. They don't know what their health care costs are going to be. They don't know what the regulations are going to be. And so as a result of that, there just is nothing happening. So that's on the business level. And then that filters down individually, and we're all in the same level. The last thing you're going to do is run out and make a major purchase, of things because of the uncertainty. So we've got to get some certainty. You can play with bad rules, but we've got to get some rules in place. And hopefully those will be good rules. So I really think that's the major thing that's going on right now. My race right now is doing well. The polls have us anywhere 17 to 25 up. Our internal polling is more like 25. So far things are going really well. We've just got a great team. I've got a lot of people like you all that have been very, very supportive. And as a result, things are moving